9:09, Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
Well, the World Cinema Showcase kicks off in Auckland this week and then moves its way around the country to the various centres, Wellington and Christchurch included. To talk with us more about the World Cinema Showcase, perhaps explain a little bit about what it is and some of the highlights of the showcase itself, is the director, Bill Gosden, joining us from his office in Wellington City. Hello to you, Bill.
Good morning from Wellington.
Yes, nice to see you once again. The World Cinema Showcase, what is different about this to the film festival, which comes up later on this year?
Well, it's a lot smaller to start with, so it's much more manageable. But the fact that we're working all year on the festival enables us to see all these opportunities that might otherwise pass us by. I mean, we're very engaged in this constant process of working on the International Film Festival. We see a lot of other things that are going on which we think might well be deserving of a space, and we just simply can't accommodate everything in the film festival. We're a bit looser about the showcase too. We don't insist on presenting premiere screenings of everything we show, so it gives us the opportunity to pick up on films which may have screened in other festivals in the previous year, including our own festival, in fact, and films we feel haven't really, maybe films that seem to warrant some further distribution but haven't had it. For example, a film like Louise Michel, the Belgian black comedy, which had its final screening in Auckland on the last night of the film festival. We turned away lots and lots of people from that screening, and the film hasn't been picked up for subsequent distribution, so it seems a perfect opportunity to bring something like that back so people have an opportunity to see it.
So it's almost like,
doing that.
Well, I'm just saying, it's almost like it's a mop up. It kind of mops up all the loose ends in cinema around the world.
Yeah, I mean, another film, Crude, the documentary about the indigenous Ecuadorians taking on Chevron oil in the courts regarding pollution of the Amazon. That's a stunning documentary made by Joe Berlinger, who's probably best known for the other documentaries we've shown in the festival in the past, most notably the film he made about the heavy metal kids who were being a murder trial that had been going on for quite some time. He's made a couple of films about that, which we've shown in the festival. But Joe Berlinger is a expert at making films about court cases, I think. And this film, Crude, screened in a small environmental film festival in Palmerston North last year, which sadly disqualified it from participating in the International Film Festival, but we have the opportunity now to bring it back in the showcase. The showcase also contains a great many premieres. The high-profile ones, of course, are The Hurt Locker, a film which we've been trying to show for over a year now. We finally secure a print of the film at about the time it becomes the most famous film in the world.
Yeah,
so it'll be opening.
Can you explain?
It'll be opening.
Sorry. Well, can you explain what the hold up is with that? Because obviously it's won the big Oscar and everything, and why is it taking so long to get to New Zealand?
I think it's a case of a major company handling a small film, and these things kind of get a little bit lost. As I think everybody is well aware now, the film's box office performance in the United States was not impressive. There was a general perception in the movie business that nobody wanted to see films about Iraq after a number of stunning films about Iraq had in fact failed at the box office. So The Hurt Locker seemed to fall into line with that pattern. And the film had been picked up by a distributor here who I think as recently as September or October last year were considering that it would probably be a straight-to-DVD title. We wanted to show it in the film festival last year, but they simply weren't able to locate a print for us. It was enormously frustrating. But they finally came through for the showcase just as this huge swell of approval for the film was becoming evident in every critic's end of year lists, and then it was just being nominated for all these awards, and now it's bound to be released pretty successfully, but we still will be presenting the first New Zealand screenings at the showcase in Auckland and Wellington, so it'll be screening at the Auckland showcase this weekend, and then the following weekend in Wellington, before going into a wider release at long last.
Yeah, and bound to be extremely popular. I'd imagine you want to get your tickets pretty pronto for that one.
Yeah, if you want to be the first to see it.
Yeah. I noticed in the schedule the return of the one of the most controversial, perhaps, films of last year, The Antichrist.
Yeah, now there was a time when that kind of controversy would guarantee a release for a film, but the whole independent exhibition scene has become much more conservative in the last 5 years or so. So a film like that, with its R18 certificate graphic classification warning, is just anathema to the independent exhibitors these days. So the showcase brings it back for what is bound, I think, to be the last opportunity to see the film on the big screen. And whatever else you might say about Lars von Trier's latest film, it really does belong on the big screen. It's a big screen movie. I think it's condemned from now on just to lurk in a fairly dodgy area of the DVD stores, but this is bound to be the last opportunity to see Antichrist on the big screen where it belongs.
Bill, any other highlights for us from the festival?
Another film that, while we're on the subject of films that are returning from the film festival, Love Exposure, the 4-hour Japanese epic of religious mania and sexual kinkiness, which got us into more trouble than any other film last year, simply because we were only able to show it a couple of times in Auckland, and people all over the country were writing angry emails and abusing us for our incompetence, when in fact it was a very boring technical issue that prevented us from showing it any more widely. That's all sorted out now, so people throughout the country can see Love Exposure.
Love Exposure,
one film that's bound to create quite a lot of discussion amongst those who are bold enough to see it is the British film Bronson, which is a film that really glorifies violence in a way that I personally didn't feel particularly comfortable with, and none of the programmers here were particularly turned on by the film, and we sort of passed on it for the film festival last year, to be honest. And in the meantime, it's built up an enormous head of steam in terms of critical support, and it won the award at the Sydney Film Festival for the best film in the Sydney Film Festival. It's quite a lavish prize there. I think it's $60,000 prize awarded by a jury in Sydney, and we've had numerous requests from people who really wanted to see that film on the big screen rather than hang out for the inevitable DVD release of it. So we're rather nervously screening Bronson in the showcase throughout the country, and I'm sure there are people who are going to be enraged by it, just as there are going to be people who think it's the greatest thing since Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
which is the film with which it's often compared.
Yeah, and those are always the best films, aren't they? Really, the ones that do get people talking, polarise people perhaps a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's a great thing about a festival kind of environment that happens, and if people sit up and pay a bit of attention to films that might otherwise just be lurking in the corners.
Hey, Bill Gosden, thanks so much. The World Cinema Showcase kicks off at the Academy Cinema in Auckland this week, March the 25th. Then it goes through to the 14th. It's in the Paramount from April the 1st, Rialto, Christchurch, April 15th, and then Regent Dunedin, April 22nd. Check out the website as well, worldcinemashowcase.co.nz. Bill Gosden, until the International Film Festival.
Sometime in July, I hope we're talking again.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Cheers.
Catch you then.
Okay.